Storm surge, historic flooding, prolonged damaging winds as Hurricane Florence approaches. Time is running out.
With millions already evacuated, the East Coast now bracing for the worst. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Jacqueline Matter.
And I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks for being with us tonight. Our top story, tracking Florence. Right now, take a live look at the old Coast Guard light station off the coast of Wilmington, North Carolina. It's literally a 6,400 square foot steel box that's built about 70 feet above the water, roughly 35 miles out into the Atlantic off the U.S. coast.
With where the storm is right now, let's head straight to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the latest. Bob?
And that Coast Guard station is actually 65 miles away from the strongest winds. And you can tell from that flag getting shredded there as a result of the tropical storm force winds, the hurricane force winds yet to even move into that. Now, this is going to be an interesting storm. It's already slowed down to my eyes on the radar. It seems to have become stationary, although they're suggesting a west-northwest drift now at 5 miles an hour. Now, you can liken it to Irma. Last year when Irma went through, we had tropical storm force winds here sustained for a few hours. This is going to be tropical storm force winds sustained for a couple of days, it looks like, on the outer banks of North Carolina, even in about 20 to 30 miles. That's going to be happening over and over and over again as these bands of heavy storms continue to just loop right into the coastline there. On top of that, heavy surf. We're going to get a storm surge and then more storm surge as all that water continues to whip around the center of that storm. Right now, it's moving or drifting to the west-northwest at 5. As I mentioned, it doesn't appear to be moving much at all, and the winds are at 100, so they've come down about 15 miles an hour throughout the day today. But it's not the winds you worry about. The winds have already done the damage in terms of bringing all that high water near its center, and it's going to move on shore, it looks like, and not until tomorrow, and it looks like after sunrise now. As far as the forecast cone goes, you can see it is still a 2. That's a dangerous storm. We had a tropical storm force winds here really with Irma. They're going to still see a 2 tomorrow more than likely right near the coast, and you can see the forecast path and track shifts it eventually off north by Sunday. But this is again Friday, looks like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then again Saturday evening, just hanging around that coastline, bringing all that heavy rainfall. And speaking of the rain, the radar now showing periods of these feeder bands making their way in and more storms developing around the center of the eye, and that's sitting there right over some pretty warm water right now. As it sits there, though, it's going to cause some upwelling to occur, and that will allow it to cool down a little bit underneath the system. So it's 100 miles west, actually east-southeast of Wilmington, and you can see this is the arrow, this is the last hour, and you can see just a slight drift to the north there. Not much at all as far as that center goes. So life-threatening rain, we talked about that, plus 40 inches in some isolated areas, and we're going to be keeping an eye on this guy too. Isaac has weakened and is expected to go to a tropical low on into day 3, 4, and 5, but there's a chance it could get into the Gulf. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Across the Carolinas, time is up to evacuate. People in North and South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, even into Washington, D.C. have prepared for Florence. There are hundreds of shelters now open. Officials are saying that more than 400,000 people have evacuated just the South Carolina coast. Thousands of travelers are finding their flights in and around those areas canceled. Coming up, we're going to go to cruise in Wilmington, North Carolina for a look at conditions there and how people have prepared. And as Florence spins closer to landfall, millions of people have been trying to escape the path of that storm.
Many of those residents have made their way south. ABC 7's Rebecca Fernandez joins us live now from Venice with how some of these families have actually made it here to the Suncoast. Rebecca?
Jacqueline, Scott, I know it seems very strange, but Florida residents are not the ones evacuating this time. But we do know what it's like to go through a hurricane, so many here are opening their doors for those who need safer grounds.
We have no idea what we're going back to in Myrtle Beach. We have a big pond behind our house, and we're worried that the water will come up out of that, and it might get the house and destroy everything we have.
The Grahams were not going to wait and see how strong Hurricane Florence would hit the Carolinas.
So we decided we better board the house up, pack up the essentials, and travel. We came to Venice to Florida.
They made their way down on Wednesday, driving close to 12 hours in traffic with millions of others trying to escape the storm. A year ago, the roles were reversed. The Grahams had their Florida family evacuate north to them.
I know what damage a hurricane can do.
And that's why Dan and his wife, who have gone through their fair share of devastating storms here in Florida, told them to pack everything up and bring down anything important.
There's my birth certificate.
They can stay as long as they need to. Hopefully their house is safe, and as long as you can replace lives, you can't. So I just wish more people would have evacuated.
And despite mandatory evacuation orders for more than 300 miles of coastline in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, a lot of people have decided to stay and ride it out. But what emergency management and fire departments tell me is that many don't understand why these evacuations are essential and why they should take them seriously.
The reason of evacuation is being that you're in this high-risk area is it will delay responders the opportunity to come rescue you.
With the possibility of extremely strong winds, flooding, and storm surges, officials say they're not only risking their lives, but those that are here to help.
Don't put the first responders in harm's way. They're out there to do a job, but if they ask you to evacuate, that should be the first thing you do.
And the Graham said although they are nervous, it's encouraging to see so many trucks and first responders vehicles traveling north in case they're needed. Live in Venice, Rebecca Fernandez, ABC 7, your Suncoast News. Back to you guys.
Rebecca, thank you. As our neighbors to the east prepare for Hurricane Florence, here on the Suncoast, Sarasota County is making sure our area is prepared. Local officials hosting a live Q&A on Facebook to help answer your questions. We have a link to that full video on our website, mysuncoast.com. But here are a few of those highlights. Find out your evacuation level before a storm comes close. In the past, when so many people try to get on the website with that information all at once, it can crash the site. Have your supplies ready ahead of time. That includes food, water, and a light source if the power goes out. And be aware that after the storm can be very dangerous, especially on flooded roadways.
There's some areas that are just very difficult to improve. Areas along the coast, downtown areas where the drains drain into the bay. So we have to keep in mind there's going to be some areas during periods of heavy rain that continue to flood.
The county has applied for funding for several mitigation projects to help improve some of the flooding problems in our area.
And another source of great information is our website, mysuncoast.com. Under the weather tab, you'll find a link to our hour-long hurricane special called Surviving the Storm. There's also a printable 2018 hurricane guide.
In other news tonight, it's the beginning of a new era for the Quay property in downtown Sarasota. Today, ground was broken for the long-awaited Ritz-Carlton residences. The waterfront project is located between Boulevard of the Arts and the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. The 18-story luxury tower will include 73 units. It's all part of the 15-acre Quay Sarasota mixed-use project that's scheduled to be complete in late 2020. Sarasota Memorial Hospital celebrating another hurdle passed on the road to building a brand new hospital in Venice. This week, the Venice City Council approving a new height limit for construction off of Laurel Road. That zoning limit now at 85 feet, a big leap from the 35-foot standard in the area. Building designs for the multi-million-dollar hospital show an emergency department, medical offices, a parking garage, and a hurricane shelter.
Tired of online job applications? Well, more than 100 people came out to a career fair in Lakewood Ranch today. The goal there, to make a professional connection.
Anxious to talk to someone instead of just filling out an online application, so it was very nice to make a connection physically and meet people here.
The organizer of today's fair says a big reason to host this event is to help employees and businesses that have been struggling as a result of red tide. Manatee County will host a hiring expo next week. Representatives from Manatee County government, the school board, sheriff's office, and other agencies are all in need of more employees, and they will be there. Some of the job openings include beach lifeguards, 911 dispatchers, bus operators, and utility workers. The hiring expo will be held at the Bradenton Area Convention Center in Palmetto Thursday, September 20th from 2 to 7 p.m. Still to come in your Suncoast News, feeling the force of Hurricane Florence, how the Carolinas are faring as officials warn of the oncoming danger.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will be back with your first alert forecast and the latest on the tropics, and a health advisory for parents, what doctors recommend when it comes to energy drinks.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now, we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Reorganizing a space in your home? Save up to 15% on our premium finishes during the California Closets Autumn Upgrade event. Contact us today for a free design consultation. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru vehicles hold their value better than any other brand for 2018, according to ALG. And Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Forester is an IIHS top safety pick for 12 years running. And right now, you can lease a new Subaru Forester for just $229 a month or get 0% financing with zero down. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Reorganizing a space in your home? Save up to 15% on our premium finishes during the California Closets Autumn Upgrade event. Contact us today for a free design consultation. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
Hurricane Florence starting to bear down on the Carolinas, that storm growing in size overnight.
Even though it's down to a Category 2 now, it's expected to bring catastrophic rainfall, even storm surge there. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Hurricane Florence making its slow and ominous approach. The giant storm, 500 miles across, already flooding coastal streets, pounding piers like this one in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, with giant waves, and threatening to linger into the weekend, dumping up to 40 inches of rain and inundating some communities with storm surge up to 13 feet.
My message today, don't relax. Don't get complacent. Stay on guard. This is a powerful storm that can kill. Today, the threat becomes a reality.
States of emergency declared in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Virginia, with more than 1.5 million people under evacuation orders. Some still making those last-second preps.
It's a little scary, thinking, we may lose some stuff.
Others ignoring the warnings, refusing to leave.
I'd rather be here and knowing what I'm dealing with than somewhere else and not knowing what I'm going to be confronted with.
But authorities are warning people who stay behind, if they end up having a medical emergency, they are on their own, because once the winds pick up even more, it'll be too dangerous for first responders to head out. And that'll be the case in many places for as long as 36 hours because this storm is so massive and moving so slowly. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Wilmington, North Carolina.
Well, as the U.S. braces for that storm, President Donald Trump making time for Twitter this morning, tweeting about the recent change to Puerto Rico's official death toll for Hurricane Maria. In 2 tweets, Trump wrote, 3,000 people did not die in the 2 hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico. When I left the island after the storm had hit, they had anywhere from 6 to 18 deaths. As time went by, it did not go up by much. Then a long time later, they started to report really large numbers, like 3,000. This was done by the Democrats in order to make me look as bad as possible. If a person died for any reason, like old age, just add them onto the list. Bad politics. I love Puerto Rico. Now, last month, Puerto Rico's government raised its official Hurricane Maria death toll from 64 to 2,975. That change was all based on new research conducted by George Washington University. Also, Puerto Rican officials said in a report to Congress that the number of deaths on the island after the storm was above normal compared to the last 4 years.
The head of FEMA says he will fully cooperate with an investigation into his alleged misuse of government resources. The Department of Homeland Security Inspector General is looking into whether FEMA Administrator Brock Long misused government vehicles and personnel. According to Politico, Long used a staff driver in a government vehicle to take him on the 6-hour drives between his home in Hickory, North Carolina, and FEMA headquarters in Washington, D.C. Those aides were then reportedly put up in a hotel in North Carolina at taxpayer expense. All right, let's bring in Bob now and get to talking again about Florence. And, you know, everybody's looking at the category of the storm. It's a 2 now.
Right.
But it's still got everything else from a much larger storm.
Yeah, it's human nature. You know, you see a storm go from a 4, a major hurricane, down to a 2. It's not going to be that bad. It's going to 2 and maybe even a 1 when it makes landfall. That's not the point. The point is that this storm has already gathered so much water near its center. On top of that, it's going to continue to do that for over 36 hours, and that's all going to slam on into North Carolina. We saw that in Katrina. Katrina was going in at a 5 toward Louisiana. And then all of a sudden the forecast was for it to be a strong 2, weak 3. And a lot of people stayed in Mississippi because they said, well, we can handle a 2 or 3, but it had a storm surge height of a Category 5, 28-foot storm surge with a Category 3 hurricane. That's unheard of. So they discontinued now a storm surge and relating it to the category of storm. So that's just to let people know here, and we learn a lesson that even though the storm may weaken in terms of wind, it still carries a heck of a punch. And get a look at this punch it's getting right now. 35 miles offshore of North Carolina, there is a Coast Guard station, as we showed you earlier. They are getting a tropical storm force to near hurricane force sustained winds. Also, Cape Lookout now in North Carolina, they have a sustained wind there, and they're over 100 miles away from the storm at near hurricane force strength. This is going to go on, not just for a few hours, but for at least a day and a half. So things are really changing. It's going to be really quite interesting to see what happens here over the next couple of days, because it is going to be devastating. Here's what's happening now. The satellite imagery still is not all that organized around the eye, but look at all this here. This is cold cloud tops that are just going to wrap around this system and move right back into North Carolina over the upcoming night. And here's the storm surge map. You see these green areas. These are areas, inlet areas into North Carolina, and we're talking in the scale up to 13 to 15-foot storm surge there, even up to 9 foot in near Wilmington, stretching all the way down to Morehead City. And this is the area I'm talking about that are getting the sustained near hurricane force winds right now, over 100 miles away from the storm center. And that center not moving. It has now slowed down to a snail's pace, drifting, if you will, to the northwest. Actually, it's northwest. They're saying west-northwest, but you can see those storms continuing to develop on the south end. They're going to wrap around and continue to just work over the same area through the night tonight and tomorrow. Looks like landfall now is going to be sometime around noon tomorrow. So not tonight. It's going to be noon tomorrow. That storm, you can just put your finger right there in the middle and see over the last 5 hours or so, the storm hasn't moved much at all. It's just drifting basically to the north, and showers and storms continue to hammer parts of Wilmington and also to the north thereof. There's the distance away from Wilmington, 100 miles away. For us, we've got a setup that is going to allow for some big storms to fire up as the west coast breeze meets this east again. We saw that last night, but this is going to be a little bit further inland. Last night it developed right near the coast. Is that where the sea breeze was kind of hung up? Now that sea breeze is penetrating into eastern portions of Manatee County. Eventually those storms will really start to fire, I suspect, into Hardee and DeSoto counties. Once in a while you get a cell popping up here near the I-75, but that's about it. You have to have the convergence of both those to come together to really get the intense storms. Now this is weakened. This is good. It's in the eastern Caribbean. This is Isaac. It will move off to the west, and it looks like it'll open up to a tropical wave, or just a tropical low, if you will. Winds will go down below the threshold of 40 miles an hour, so it's no longer going to be called a storm at this point. But look at the models here, starting to show a trend toward the Gulf of Mexico, and sometimes these can get into areas of favorable conditions and redevelop. So this will bear watching. If it does follow this path, we're definitely going to see an increase in moisture on in through, it looks like midweek next week. So right now, not a concern, but we got to watch it very closely. 87 right now, and feels like temperature near 100 degrees in places. This system, not as much of a chance developing as it makes its way to the west-northwest. It's down to 50% chance. There's just not a lot of time for it as it makes its way off to the northwest. We'll get to the forecast then as we see it. For boaters, winds out of the north turning to the northwest at 5 to 10 knots. So here we go again, back to a west to northwesterly flow, which brings the tides and the harmful impacts of red tide closer to the coast throughout the day. That's going to also limit our storms. So our rain chances are really going to be down on Friday, Saturday. If we see anything develop, we may see 1 or 2 showers in the morning near the coast, but even those will be isolated, and same holds true for inland areas. We get back to more of a better chance for those storms, some tropical air around next week, and we'll be watching the remnants of what was Isaac closely next week. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Let's check first alert traffic in Bradenton or Manatee County. We're seeing some slowdowns on I-75 in the northbound lanes as you get past University Parkway, which is pretty typical this time of day. Otherwise, though, it's looking pretty clear south of there. Jacqueline.
Thanks, Scott. In health news tonight, energy drinks are everywhere, and while most come with a warning that they're not recommended for children under 16, there are currently no federal laws that prohibit the sale of energy drinks to minors. Caffeine can have an effect on both a child's central nervous system and cardiovascular system that can be harmful, and in some cases even deadly. Current guidelines say children 12 and under should avoid consuming any caffeinated products and suggest teens limit caffeine to no more than 100 milligrams per day. Coming up, 5 people are dead following a shooting spree in California, what we know so far. Plus, do you recognize this man? Why the Manatee County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help to identify him.
Reorganizing a space in your home? Save up to 15% on our premium finishes during the California Closets Autumn Upgrade event. Contact us today for a free design consultation. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
I was always worried and scared. Mom was in pain. She wasn't going to get any better, and all the trips to the ER were painful for all of us. Then we called Tidewell Hospice, and everything changed. Now she has care in our home when she needs it, surrounded by family. We know we don't have much time left with Mom, but we decided to make the best out of that time. Tidewell Hospice, it's more than you think.
For the best car buying experience, go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Sarasota, where you always get better prices and a bigger selection. Like KBB's 2017 Best Buy Award overall winner, the Chrysler Pacifica, for just $22,999. Or save big and get the new Chrysler 300 Touring with an MSRP over $30,000 for just $21,999. That's a savings of over $8,000. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Sarasota today.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops, coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
Reorganizing a space in your home? Save up to 15% on our premium finishes during the California Closets Autumn Upgrade event. Contact us today for a free design consultation. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
Police in California are investigating a deadly mass shooting. A gunman is dead, but not before killing 5 people. This all happened in Bakersfield, California. Authorities say trouble started shortly after a man and his wife arrived at a trucking business. The man killing his wife before shooting and killing 2 other men at the business. Then police say the gunman went to a home where he shot 2 more people. As deputies closed in on him, he then turned the gun on himself. The identities of the victims have yet to be released.
Caught on camera, do you know who this skateboarding thief is? The Manatee County Sheriff's Office releasing this video today. It shows someone with a skateboard breaking into an unlocked vehicle. Deputies believe he broke into several unlocked cars in the Del Tierra subdivision during the early morning hours of September 1st. If you recognize that thief, you're being asked to contact Manatee County Crime Stoppers.
The fastest man on Earth put his speed to the test in 0 gravity, and it turns out he's pretty quick there too. Wednesday, Usain Bolt raced astronauts in an Airbus Zero-G plane above France. The Olympic gold medalist easily beating his competitors. Bolt called the race mind-blowing and fun. He's fast wherever you put him.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, still to come on your Suncoast News, new details in the case of a Tampa toddler killed. The warning from Child Protective Services that may have come too late.
Plus, happy news for the family who lost their son during a gator attack in Orlando.
The final 2018 Accord clearance is now during our model year-end clearance sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American car of the year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for new Accords. All on clearance this week at your local Honda dealer.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000. Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
Gettle's got what you're looking for at Gettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford, credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Gettle's got that too. Gettle's got it. Visit Gettle.com.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Call to see if you qualify to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan right now. At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. There is no obligation and the book is free. Call or go online right now.